It's nothing greasy related.
His mason jars usually have like a little sipper on top, which is always kind of funny. It's like somehow he's redneck enough to turn a mason jar into a sippy cup or something.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry, and it's National Bourbon Day. And I'm sitting across the table from none other than Dixon Dedman.
Oh, happy National Bourbon Day.
National Bourbon Day, my friend. How have you been?
I've been terrific.
Good.
Terrific.
You're busy today.
Yeah, things are just busy, but I mean it's good. Like busy's good, and
I mean between Kentucky Owl, between the 100-year anniversary of the inn, I mean, yeah, you've got a lot to deal with right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it never fails that like times when when I've got something big going on at the end, it like coincides with the big stuff we're doing with Kentucky Owl. I can't ever seem to stagger them.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of doing some market visits around this most recent release of this confiscated product.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of happens to be when I got a lot of stuff going on here at the end.
Yeah.
So it's like running out, running back. And
yeah, because we've been trying to schedule this for, feels like 2 months now.
I know. I think, knock on, I shouldn't even say it, but like I'm fairly confident that I'm home for a while.
Good.
Yeah.
Because
as soon as I say that,
you're going to get another call to go back out to LA.
Right.
And
no, I'm okay with. I did LA. I spent some time there. I'm okay with that.
Do you like the business? Because you're very busy. Like, do you like staying busy, or do you like?
I do. I love staying busy. I mean,
yeah.
I love to stay busy. I love doing or participating in all the things that we're participating in, both on this side and that side, and then I've been very blessed with a great family too. I have 3 young kids, and so that trying to find that right balance, because that's probably the only thing I enjoy more is being home, being a dad, being that kind of thing. So
for sure. Well, we normally kick off the show with Flying Blind, where I blind the guest on something, which we did before.
Right.
Last time I gave you a blend that I made. This is not a blend that I made.
This is old.
It is. I can confirm. This is 2 weeks in a row, I think, on the show that we've had this, and I definitely wanted you to try this.
I knew I should have listened to last week's episode. I think it's old.
Yeah. I will say, I said this last week too, it's one of the cleaner Dusties I've ever had.
Yeah. It doesn't taste as dusty as it smells.
No, not at all. Not at all. But the nose is just straight up like that dusty funk. But man, I really enjoy this pour.
Yeah, that hangs really well. I mean, it just it just kind of coats and hangs. And I don't know. I thought that it was. I thought it was old rye initially. But
it's a 1980 Turkey 101.
Okay.
8-year from a decanter. And even though it came from look, it's not cloudy at all. And I just got a 79 Beam decanter too that was really cloudy. And a year apart, how much they're of course it's different companies, but how much of their practice changed in 12 months.
These are so funny though, because like the nose is old turkey, the taste is cleaner and a little less funky than a lot of old turkey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's funny too, because I feel like we've had dusty turkeys from more recent times, 89, 90, mid 90s that have tasted a lot funkier than this
I got
does.
a really cool turkey decanter the other day. The one that's like an actual turkey. Mm-hmm. And was really excited about opening it up.
Yeah.
And after opening it and pouring a little bit of it and smelling it, I came to find out that it, for an extended amount of time, had been stored near quite a few mothballs. Yeah, it was pretty gross. So it's a great display piece.
I thought maybe you were going to say that it just, like, it clearly had, like, lead influence on it or something, but, like, that's
straight mothballs.
so much worse.
It was disgusting.
Was there any smell worse than this? Well, I mean, there might be.
You want to taste it? I'm just kidding. It is so gross. You want to taste it?
I had a split second where I was like, you know what? Maybe I do want to taste it. Nah,
I don't think you do.
I don't think so.
You change your mind. It ain't going anywhere. I can tell you that much. It's
yeah. If you ever decide to decant that, and
we're not gonna. A year from now, you come back and change your mind. It'll still be here.
That's a real good like party trick for people too.
Oh, it's foul.
Let me. So you knew? I mean, did you know before you even like poured it in the glass, or no? Oh, that's unfortunate.
You smell it. Smell it. Pretty clear.
Well, anyway, that was Flying Blind. This is a good pour.
It was a great pour.
What have you been drinking recently, Dixon? Other than nasty turkey.
Well, yeah, that happened once, and it was very brief. And let's see. I just got back from L.A. where we watched people, because in typical, I don't know, it's just, this is not answering your question. I will answer your question, but you might find this interesting. It's just really funny to travel to different markets, and you can kind of, like different markets do bourbon, do whiskey differently.
Absolutely.
And it's just, it's really... we went to a bar on, I can't remember what night it was, but they made this Manhattan with Confiscated.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
With house-made, some house-made bitters, a certain barrel-aged vermouth, and then a deconstructed cherry at the bottom. So this cherry somehow was, I don't know. It was like when you bit into it, it just exploded.
Yeah,
and
that's bizarre.
But they kind of served it in typical LA fashion, like on top. It came out on top of all this dry ice, and so they had it, and so there's like, and it's just really funny because like. You go to other markets that, and I'm not saying one is bad or good or whatever, but, you go to other markets and they, like Chicago, it's just like they bring out these little 5-ounce juice glasses, set them down, slam them down. It's like, let's pour some whiskey. It's just very different. So, we tried a lot of really amazing, mixologist creations over the last few days. And really cool. And watching them, do the stuff they do, the smoked old fashions and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it is super cool. So that was a lot of what I drank early in the evening, and by the end of the evening, we're just, it's like grab a tumbler, Confiscated in the glass or whatever.
Exactly.
What have I been drinking lately? My good friend, your good friend, our good friend, Jamie Ferris was up here. Yeah. We picked some barrels a couple weeks ago, and he delivered several. We on our birthday, we picked some barrels, so he brought me several of his newer store picks. So they're open at home now, and
that's great, man.
Well,
I always forget that you guys have the same birthday.
Yeah. So I forgot about it about halfway through our birthday this year. So that's kind of how we celebrate.
So one of our listeners, Monica, I think she might have tagged you in it on Instagram. But she found a Four Roses pick that I think you and Jamie did together. I can't remember if she found it in Indiana or if she found it actually at
Lincoln Road.
At Lincoln Road. I'll have to ask her about it. But she says it's fabulous.
Well,
And I'm sorry I don't have more information for you.
no,
but
I mean, clearly, if it was Jamie and I, it has to be fabulous right now. It's fun. I mean, we've done some great picks, and those things. I mean, it's always a great experience, and those picks are different depending on. I've been on just as many where everybody's so focused on which recipe,
right?
What rick house, what the numbers, the specs, and all that kind of stuff, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. What I appreciate about Jamie and at least the way we do it is, barrels are flipped around, the glasses, we feel it's a completely, it's just it's the best barrel, and it has nothing to do with and so I feel pretty good about the fact that every time we kind of do it, it's at least what we thought was the best barrel. Not like, I mean, I've been to others, which is fine, but it's like, I think that's the best barrel, but I really want this recipe. And it's like, well, then the exercise has been kind of wish I'd known that going in, because
I think I'm gonna give you a little bit of credit here too. I think that's why I, for one, and so many others, trust your judgment when it comes to what comes out of Kentucky Owl. And we'll get to more of it later. Like some of the, I wouldn't call it controversy. I would call it. You've caught some flack recently from different people about Confiscated, but I trust what you do. I think what you do is fantastic, and I like hearing too that extends not just to your own products, but to, say, you're picking a barrel for a store or for the inn or whatever. It's just about what's good or really good or what's the best at that time, as opposed to trying to complete your collection.
I mean, that's a very nice compliment, and I really, I mean, I appreciate that, and I take pride in that, to be quite honest.
Sure.
The flip side of that is that, and I've heard it a lot lately, like, oh, you took some heat, or did you see what? And to be quite honest, I don't know what people said about it.
Sure.
And I don't really care. I quit looking at that stuff a long time ago. Because I don't, whether, and this is, God, this is going to sound really lame, but like, this is a lesson that I try to, share with my children. This is kind of how I try to operate both in business, at Bowline Inn, and Kentucky Owl, whatever is, I'm just going to be me.
Yeah.
I've got to be me.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, all I care about is making sure that I'm proud of what I've done, what I've produced, the team I lead, the team we've built, the product that we're putting out there. That's it. That's really it. Like I'm not making bourbon for people who just like to be negative. I'm not, and I couldn't care any less. I'm never going to put out something I don't believe in. I'm never going to be a part of something that I wouldn't put my name on. I'm never going to do something that, and that's what, that's it. That's it for me. And I've heard, or people like, oh, did you see what? Who are these people anyway? But and it's like, so what? Like I'm flattered that they took the time to that's great. That's great. They took the time to research something, and I make no bones. If I can talk about it, I talk about it.
Sure.
I love all this stuff. as if we don't disclose, age and blah, 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 blah. And I can take my soapbox on age statements if you want me to, but, we made
Might touch on it.
Yeah, we made it very clear. I mean, this confiscated is 5, 9, 10, and 12-year-old distillates, 4 different mash bills. I mean, that's not top secret.
Yeah.
The bulk of that, based on the way it was made available to me, I don't know the specific mash bill.
Sure.
I didn't buy it because of a mash bill. I didn't authorize a purchase. I authorized the purchase of it because it was good, and I thought I could do something with it.
Yeah.
So but that whole thing. Did you see what somebody said? No, and I couldn't.
No, and you don't care.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Let's talk we'll shift gears a little bit. Your blending process, I mean, you touched on it just a hair there, that you're basing it off of what is good. So are you finding, say, you get one barrel from one distillery and you say, this has a really good note in it, but it's lacking something. And then you go to another distillery that says, this has what the other one was lacking. What is your process kind of when you blend?
What I have learned and learned, but also, and that was part of the development of all this and what we were doing and how we were doing it. One of the things that was cool about, and a tough lesson, is that when you're blending, 2 + 2 doesn't make 4.
Sure.
This lot of this distillate has this great front end, syrupy sweetness, but the back end is a little bit tannic or bitter or whatever. So naturally you think, oh, okay, if I just add some of this stuff that has this really super spicy, lengthy finish, then there'll be this great marriage of sweetness on the front end and spice on the back end. And that never happens.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a challenge all in. And then what's interesting is a lot of the stuff that I'm playing with now.
Because you're still working on batch 9, right?
Right. But you have certain things, like I've got some. It's phenomenal. I love the stuff. It's about 7 years old right now. It's been 2.5 years in New Oak a second time, and it was a custom char on the barrel that we had done. It was it's super cool, but it's intense. It's really intense. So a little bit of it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And so creating these blends where the best part of that is a component, but it doesn't completely overpower everything. It's like we walk a really fine line between too much, not enough, and how it balances with other stuff. I mean, it's not. I'm sure that I probably should have a more scientific approach, but that's not me. I mean, we're just kind of wandering.
So to that point though, how do you know when to proof down? Because last time I was here, I tried rye batch 2 at what was at that point cask strength.
Okay.
And it got proofed down once it actually hit the bottle. So what was it about the cask strength version that you said something's got to give, and you proofed it down a little bit?
Yeah, I think that rye and the difference is, I'll proof the rye down. Batch number 9 and batches 1 through 8 have all been barrel proof.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different and honestly, the rye, while I love that rye at barrel proof, when you proof it down just a little bit, it takes a lot of the back end off and makes the front end a little more approachable.
Yeah.
And then you get too low, and then the front end's gone altogether, and then it just ends up being pine sol or whatever. But it's trying to find that sweet spot where it doesn't completely overpower so much that all you think about is finish. So you take it down far enough to where you can get some of those good aged barrel notes, the sweet notes on the, and then have that finish. So that's the point of, but with the rye, the rye is I put it together and then kind of find, and when I find it, I never decide, oh, this is going to be the rye at barrel proof, and then I start proving, so you're kind of putting it together, and then you, but all the time I always kind of look at it in, around that 110 range. And so when I'm happy with what we've got, I'll usually, take it and split it into about, at barrel proof, into about 6 to 8 containers, add varying levels of water, and then taste all of them blind 4 or 5 times over the course of a couple weeks, and keep record of my notes and kind of where I gravitate towards, and more often than not, I don't really need the notes, because all the bottles started with the same level. And a few of them end up lower than the others, and it's kind of like, I wonder why that happened.
Whoops.
And so Rye 3 is, I'm excited about Rye 3. Rye 3 has got it's 114 proof.
Yeah, we tried it at
Did we try that?
Whiskey Weekend.
So.
I'm pretty sure. I think
we did.
I think we did too.
Yeah,
it was in that. Yeah, it was in that flight that you had for us. Yeah. So I just poured another Dusty. Mm-hmm. This is Old Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond.
Oh, that's just butterscotch.
Oh, all the way through. There's a little bit of like greenery on there too, but
greenery. I like it.
I'm turning Fred Minnick with some of my descriptions.
You hear what Fred Minnick did to me the other day?
Please tell.
Freaking awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, there is greenery on the back end of this, or like kind of a, it's like an evergreeny kind of thing. Long story short, we're on this. Fred's moderating this panel in Louisville.
That's a good way to start this story.
Yeah. It's and I don't know if I'm anyway. It was, so there was a representative. So let's just say representatives from 2 of the major distilleries, and then me. and so
he rolled his eyes when he said me, by the way.
Yeah, so Fred is fantastic, and I know Fred very well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good back and forth, but Fred, his question for about midway through the thing was, he said, so a lot of the big producers and the big there's a lot of investment in the cannabis industry, and so he asks one guy, he's like, how, from your all's perspective, how does potential legalization of or whatever, how does that affect? And there was a very very good kind of stock, I don't mean to call it corporate answer, but it's like, we feel like this and our numbers are this and blah, blah, And so Fred goes to the next guy, and he was like, now with your kind of focus on what's taking place here in the U.S. and growing your U.S. brand, and it was still very much like, well, we feel like we're just, we're part of, what's going on, and we're really happy with our growth, and we feel like our customers are dedicated and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And Fred looks at me and he goes, so Dixon, when was the last time you smoked weed?
I could just hear Fred's
the
cadence.
whole time, like I can see him, like he is building up to this, and he asked that question with such joy, and just waiting to see me squirm, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, man, there's several ways to go about this, and the only thing I think to do that wouldn't get me in a lot of trouble was look at him, and I looked at him and I said, "You mean today?" and that was interesting.
Fred's cadence and way in the way that he asks questions like that, it's kind of alarming. You're never expecting it.
I knew something was coming. I mean, I looked over, and he kind of got this big smile on his face when he said, "So Dixon," and I was like, "This ought to be
It's
good."
like everything slows down.
Yeah.
It's like, where was the last time?
Well, here's the thing: the the head of human resources for Stoli Group is in the audience. There's some
Did you
big
look at them
time people that
immediately?
come in, and I'm just, I'm here, I'm thinking, oh,
Go easy, Fred. Go
because
easy.
normally I would have fired off something even worse than that, but I tried to play it relatively safe.
Anyway, this Heaven Hill, it's like it's a total turn from the turkey, and it doesn't quite coat the tongue in the way that the turkey does. But I think that it's a more of an immediate delivery in terms of
For sure.
what
But
you're
I think that's
experiencing.
the sweetness. Like, there's
Oh, yeah.
more of a sweetness there. But the finish of this turns more minty than peppery or spicy,
Yeah,
like the
absolutely.
turkey. Like it's kind of a cool. It's like juicy fruit gum turns to Wrigley's spearmint.
I'm not sure if that's a good tasting note or.
No, I like it. Write that down. Get rid of your greenery shit. Listen.
Yeah, all right. So I want to ask you too. I've been thinking about this recently.
I've been thinking about you too, Perry.
Oh, Dixon.
Yeah.
I'm blushing now. You've spent now a good deal of time actually in the bourbon industry. How has your personal experience with building a brand, building just basically a flavor profile that you like, or a varying flavor profile depending on batches, how has your experience changed the way that you view the bourbon industry as a whole? Do you find yourself kind of critiquing different brands a little bit more or differently than you may have before? Or how do you...
No, I mean, I don't. You say I've been in this industry for a while. I've been in this industry for a millisecond, as compared to
That's fair.
to others, and I know that. There's people know about this investment in this distiller. We've talked about all that.
Yeah.
But that in no way, shape, or form gives anyone any more credibility than what you just did or what you've accomplished. And while I personally am very proud of what I have accomplished, it is nothing in relation to what's been done or what's out there, and I am flattered and honored and truly thankful, for not only the opportunity to be included in some of the things that take place in the bourbon industry, but at least to be recognized as someone who has maybe done something in the bourbon industry. But I know my place. I know who I am, and I know who I'm not. And I'm not the likes of a lot of those icons that have been doing this for a long, long, long time. And I would be, I would be stupid to act like I'm among them or one of them. I have an experience. It's a relatively brief experience in comparison, and I don't. The only thing that I can do, again, not to beat a dead horse, but the only thing I can do is try to represent myself in the best way I can represent myself, and that's just to keep. Stay true to what I want to do and what I want to be, and not, I can't and don't want to and refuse to ever, put myself in a position to act like I think I'm somebody other than this. I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. It's been a great time, a great opportunity. But I know exactly who I am. I know exactly where I came from. I know that there are a lot of people who have done a heck of a lot more than me, who have made much greater impacts than me. I still have the deepest respect for those people, and would never ever say that I belong, on the same level as a lot of those people. I mean, yeah, it's great. I've had a blast. I have a blast every day, and still get weirded out from time to time.
Sure.
But there's a whole lot more that I would like to do before I ever consider myself, some important person in this industry. This industry is still has some giants in it that I deeply admire and respect.
Yeah. I think that was about the humblest way you could have possibly answered that, and it was nice. Hey, you want something completely different now?
Sure.
We've moved on from the dusty category of what I brought. This is just an off-the-shelf New Riff single barrel. Oh, wait, no. I grabbed the wrong bottle. This is just the bottled and bond.
Okay. Here, wait a minute.
I brought the wrong bottle. Okay. Oh, hey, I know that pick. It's Riff Flair.
Yeah.
Kentucky Supply and Demand did it.
Did we do this?
No,
Did
we haven't
drink
had
this
it yet.
last time?
No.
Well, here, open that.
Okay. Yeah, we had Kentucky Supply and Demand on the show recently. It's Casey Bright.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how you got this bottle.
Yes. Casey, we've done. Casey's a veteran Dixon Dedman taster. He's come down for several.
I was gonna say he's been down here a lot since Whiskey.
We kind of have some mutual friends, and they come down. So, and actually, I think that the last time we did a tasting, I think he gave me this one, and I was tasting it the other day against. But I may have another one of these.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very marshmallow heavy on the nose. That's the immediate note that I pick up.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's very s'moresy, which is super different for a New Riff pick, I would say. I'm kind of upset that I brought this. I accidentally brought the bottled and bond and not the single barrel that I was hoping you could try. But I mean, it did. I mean, we get to drink this instead.
They're making good whiskey.
Oh, they absolutely are. And I'm excited to see where
bottle.
where they go beyond 4-year-old products. I mean, seeing it in, even 5 years, 6 years, I think it's going to be a really interesting experiment just to see what craft distilleries can be when they kind of put their nose to the grindstone and give it the time that it deserves.
I cannot argue that at all. Here's the thing that I personally believe, not to get on, but I don't think that you can, or you have to say that they've got 3 or 4 more years and then it's going to be something special. I mean,
sure.
And I think based on kind of the new model of and the way I mean, there's some freaking amazing stuff coming out of these distilleries at 5 years old, 6 years old, with insane complexity and just I mean, I some of the stuff they're doing, some of these, I mean, it's really exciting, and I don't oftentimes agree, and I shouldn't say I disagree, but I don't think it's got to be like people are like, oh, can you imagine how good this is going to be at 10 Well, at 10, it may,
Sure.
I'm not, I got 10-year-old barrels I've got 5-year-old barrels that beat the brakes off of 10-year-old barrels. And I mean, I think, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But, but I don't think we all have to sit back and wait, another 3-4 years for these guys to do some great stuff. Because, I mean, I think they're doing some great stuff. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. That's a really interesting way of looking at it. And I think that I fall kind of victim to the it's great but mindset. And I think that, if 4 years from now we're still getting 4-year-old age statements from New Riff and it's this same quality, I won't be upset about it.
No.
I don't see there any reason to
Right.
to be upset about it because it is a really quality product. It's just this, like, I think there's something ingrained in the human psyche.
No, I get it. And to your point, like, there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of saying, I love this at 4, but I'm excited about trying it at 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I didn't mean to shoot that concept down or whatever.
I think it's an interesting aspect of the conversation to say, how are we really viewing the whiskey industry, the bourbon industry right now, especially at a time where there aren't a whole lot of age statements on bottles. How does that affect our perception of what's coming out right now, what will be coming out in a couple of years' time?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say something that's probably going to be very controversial and probably get me in trouble.
Here we go.
Whatever.
All right. Hot takes with Dixon.
Here's what I've decided. We've reached a point, this bourbon community, the bourbon consumers, and it's a very select group of them, but we've reached the point where it's more important to everybody, not everybody, a select few, let's just say that.
Yeah.
To sound like an authority,
Mm-hmm.
to have some sort of opinion that stands above and beyond everybody else's.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the way we go about doing that is to use a negative approach and to say, it's not, people right now don't want to say, you know what, this freaking bottle is good and I like it. And I enjoy drinking it and I look forward to drinking it. Instead, we're at a point where we have to say, to sound a little bit more authoritative and as if we, know more than other people, we have to say, you know what? I really like this bottle. But
yeah, it's the but.
I wish it was 6 years old and 118 proof. Well, you know what? It's not. Like and it doesn't or I really like this bottle, but the 2015 was better. I mean, it's just like, why do we have to have the but? Like, why can't you say, you know what, this is, and I get it. There's a lot of that. I mean, it's, and then you start, there's a price, and then I wish it was this. I wish it had this age statement. I wish it had gone this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just nice to say, you know what, this isn't the best thing I've ever had, but it's good.
Yeah.
I like it. I could drink it. And I don't, we don't need the but.
You sound a little bit like you're airing personal grievances.
Like an old man, get off my lawn kind of thing?
it sounds like you're speaking from a little bit of experience and from seeing from kind of the inside out. Because, I mean, there have been a lot of people who have said Kentucky Owl Confiscated is good, but there's no age statement.
You find me the last time somebody now isn't saying that about this Pappy 2018 is good, but
yeah.
I mean yeah. I mean, but I don't. It's. I mean, of course, I can apply it to myself.
Yeah.
But I'm a whiskey guy first and foremost. Like I love different bourbons. I love trying things. I love, and this Four Roses, whatever that we picked, is great, but it's not as good as they used to be 3 years ago. It's all of that stuff. It's just,
I think that there is, when talking about, products now versus products then, I think there may be a little bit of validity to that. And the reason that I say that is because there is the potential for, say, 20 years ago, Wild Turkey was putting out a specific product that had, these certain qualities to it that were exquisite at the time, really good, and, but now they've changed the way that they make it, and, it's still good, but it's not as good as that. And I think that what I'm getting at is that it's a matter of thinking about the quality and the process behind the quality. And so while I don't disagree with you, because I definitely don't, I think that there is still some aspect of that argument that can be valid.
I do not disagree with that at all. As a matter of fact, I think that's incredibly valid and legitimate. The fact of the matter is, it is what it is.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I mean, I just, sometimes it's like we should judge these, bottles based on their merit.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
And like, forget the but.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's all. I mean, I don't mean to act like I've, I remember when, this is before Kentucky Owl, and maybe I'm jaded. Like maybe I'm, and that's understandable. I probably shouldn't argue that either. But I remember when people were excited to try things, and people were excited to talk about how much they enjoyed new things, and it wasn't. It was about the merits of what was in that bottle, and everybody didn't create these benchmarks that really don't have a lot of legitimacy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, and I think I think about this weird state that the craft bourbon industry is in right now too, where you can come out with a product at 4 years old, 100 proof single barrel, whatever, and it can either perform really well or it's just going to fall flat on its face.
Yeah.
And I think that it seems like 9 times out of 10, the ones that are overpriced, way too young, have turned people off from the craft industry. So when we get bottles like New Riff, when we get bottles like Wilderness Trail, and they're exceptional for a craft distillery product, it changes the way that we think about what we're buying and what we're consuming. Because if there is one distillery out of 10 that's putting out something really great and the other 9 just straight up suck, I mean, what is your vantage point then? That is
an incredibly good point.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, no, I mean, point taken. Like maybe I'm thinking about this all wrong. I guess for me, whether it's bourbon that I've created or my friends have created,
sure,
or people that I admire have created, or whatever, like, I just almost like, can we just talk about what it is and not the but?
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
No, like, I totally understand that and agree with you.
And I get it. I get it that like, there's something to be said for lining up 6 4-year-old or 10-year-old or 6 bottles in the same price point and deciding which one you like the best or whatever. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And I certainly understand the argument of I could buy this at this price point, or I could buy X, Y, and Z at the exact same price point, and I'm going to buy this because I think it's better than those things. That's legit. I get that 100%. That's just the way. I mean, that's the way we work, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's, in that same vein too. You think about, well, I could spend $60 on one bottle, or I could spend $60 on 3 bottles that are each $20 a piece.
Get it?
For sure. I mean, it's such a simple kind of overused statement in my vernacular, but you like what you like, and I think that's valid. And you don't like what you don't like. I mean, there are plenty of bourbons that I don't like that other people love.
Right.
I won't name names, but there are just those that I'm like, I can never drink this. I don't want to drink this. I would rather spend, half the money on, say, just a bottle of 101 or Elijah Craig or something else, So I feel like it's a really interesting time and kind of a tumultuous time in the bourbon industry and in the consumer market as well. But I like, though, and I think it's interesting to see you in particular affiliated with a brand like Kentucky Owl, now, associated with the Stoli brand as well, sticking to your guns, right? Because that's what you've done. You've stuck to your guns.
Well, I'm gonna stick to my guns, and if that, if sticking to my guns means that, they say, thank you, we don't need you anymore because, because of those guns you have or whatever, then, that's their problem. But gosh, all of a sudden I'm like, man, am I all of a sudden sounding like some whiny, snotty, whatever. I just, and I don't really care. I mean, I appreciate the people that really enjoy Confiscated and I don't.
It's me.
I don't care.
This is my second bottle.
I like it.
Which I'm definitely going to get you to sign here.
Oh God. But I don't. People aren't going to like it. It's not for everybody. It's fine. It's totally fine. And you know what? New Riff. People are going to love New Riff, and some people are not. And people are going to love Wilderness Trail, and some people are not. And people are going to love Peerless, and some people are not. And people are going to love Willet, and some people are not.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That is totally fine. And it's valid to judge things and make calls on things based on what else is available, what else is out there, what else, But I do. There are a lot of times I wish that a little more attention was given to the merits of what these people have produced and put together and put in a bottle, and what it is, without immediately going outside that bottle and trying to, come up with why you shouldn't like it as much because it's not this, that, or the other.
I think that...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think that brings validity to blind tastings as well. Because you are removing any preconceived notions about what the bottle might be, what your experience with it is, what your experience is with other bottles. It just offers you the opportunity to approach it from as neutral a position as you possibly can.
And you find me somebody that's participated in a blind tasting and has not been shocked by what they've found based on the lack of knowledge of what they're tasting.
Right.
Those people don't exist. And no one goes into a blind tasting and finishes it and goes, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. I shouldn't say no one, but there's always
we have to talk about Bearded Dram saying, that's 2018 George C. Stagg during the Whiskey Weekend.
Guys got game, man.
That was pretty intense. But yeah, I see. I totally understand what you're saying. Is that
I think he cheated, by the way, but whatever.
All right, Dan, you've been called out.
Yeah.
If you want to defend yourself, call in.
I'll
to
hear
the show.
about that.
This new riff pick, though, is fabulous. And I really think that Casey and everybody over at Kentucky Supply and Demand did a great job with picking it.
You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. This is a badass bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
And I could drink this.
Yeah.
I could drink a lot of this. Mm-hmm. And I would share it with people. And I would be like, here's something really cool. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't, it's fine. It's fine if other people, but like that's just it. Like, there doesn't need to be a however or a but or whatever. Like, let's just say it. You know, it's like this one I don't like. Why? Yeah. Not because, you know, I just don't like it.
Yeah. I do that thing though where I get a bottle that I'm really, really excited about, or that other people are really excited about. And I mean, of course I open it and then I share it around like exponentially. So A, it's because I want other people to try it. Mm-hmm. B, it's just because I'm excited about it and I want to give it the time to, you know, allow for me to be excited about it too. And I wind up with, you know, like my first bottle of Confiscated, I probably knocked out like maybe a half of the bottle in like...
You and Cletus?
Yeah, me and Cletus. Cletus had a straw. But we probably knocked it out in like 2 weeks. Because I was just so excited to have other people get the experience of trying it. And I find so much joy in sharing with other people and sharing just something that I love with other people. And the same goes for Confiscated. I think it's a fabulous bottle of whiskey.
You know, and I've told you this before, and this is kind of my... I love to kind of create the, you know, I love the kind of therapeutic part of the blending. And I enjoy, there's a lot of things about, you know, working with Kentucky Owl that I enjoy, but there is nothing that I, you know, the icing on the cake for me, like the number one, is being a part of something that, you know, a special occasion, a commemoration of an event, or just, you know, I've yet to, and I know this, like I don't make an everyday bourbon. Our price dictates that, you know, I mean, that's the way it works. And I get that. Like I'm a little bit offended sometimes when I understand that people are like, oh, they're so out of touch. Like Confiscated is expensive. It's freaking expensive. And you know, and I get it. And I don't.
When you say that, you don't sound like you. I don't want to put you on the spot with this, but we've talked about it before a little bit on the show. When you say that, you sound like you're upset with that, or it bothers you.
Well, I think the part that bothers me most is that there. I mean, here I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I know, just a second ago I act like I don't care, but the one thing I do care about is if there's ever a perception that Dixon thinks $125 for a bottle of bourbon is just somebody's everyday Tuesday whiskey. I mean, I am honored that it took you, because 2 weeks to finish that bottle is, I know that's not a 2-week bottle. That's not a 1-week bottle. And I mean, maybe I'm talking like somebody who drinks way too much, but I know what 1-week bottles look like. I know what 3-day bottles look like.
Well, sure. And like I want to put this into perspective for you. when it's a 2-week bottle. And when I say 2 weeks, I'm not saying that it's completely done in 2 weeks, but it's about halfway to 3.
I wasn't accusing you of having any type of problem or anything like that. I mean, I wasn't.
What I'm saying is that I liken that to what happens if I get a bottle of BTAC, or on the off chance that a Van Winkle drops into my lap, or whatever. It's something that I know people want to try, and I want to present them with the opportunity.
No, I love
try
that.
that.
I think that is. I mean, that's amazing as far as I'm concerned that you would be willing to share that, because I know that's not a that's not a $20 bottle. That's a lot of money. That's an investment. That's and I know that. And like one of the biggest things, one of the only things that's bothered me about the response we've gotten from Confiscated was if anybody ever thought that I had any notion that this was positioned as just like a casual everyday thing. And I know it's not. It's a special occasion bottle. That's still a special occasion price.
Yeah.
That's and I get that. And I'm not angry about where it's priced. I know what it has to be priced at because the way we do things is not cheap.
Sure.
But I don't want people thinking that it's like, oh, those guys think $125 is pocket change to people. It's not. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the best part about all of it, about being where we are positioned, and based on the quality of the liquid that at least I think that I'm producing, is that people buy it because they want it to be a part of something special for them when that occasion presents itself. And you get a note that says, hey, we just lost my dad today.
Yeah.
And he was a big bourbon fan, and so we opened this bottle of Confiscated, and that's what we used to toast. And that's it. That's a win. That means more to me. I give me that over the highest marks from Fred Minnick any day of the week. I love Fred, but being a part of something special for people. We just my son was born, and I mean, and the people that I continue to meet and continue to spend time with, and then they share those stories and stuff. I mean, that's it. That's the best part about it. Is the fact that you thought enough of that bottle of Confiscated to share it with your friends or people that that's all I need. That's all I need to make sure that I stick to my guns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, to wrap it, to come back. But you talk about sticking to my guns. Like, those are the things that make it important to me to stick to my guns.
Yeah. And I think that's why. So, yeah, this is a Knob Creek single barrel that's 14 years old. It's from the folks over at the Speakeasy, Wisconsin. Great group of guys.
Speakeasy, Wisconsin.
Are you in that group on Facebook?
I don't think so.
I'll add you. I'm sure that you're going to have to go through an extreme vetting process to be a part of it, though.
Well, just tell me where to send the blood and urine samples.
I mean, we do have to ask you when the last time you smoked weed was. So.
You mean today?
This is another one of those bottles where I just wanted to share it around with people. Mm-hmm. Because I found it to be something special. I found it to be unique even in just the realm of Knob Creek single barrel picks. I said for a long time, early last year, I went on a Knob Creek pick for Liquor Barn. And one of the bourbons that we picked 2 bourbons and 2 ryes. One of the bourbons that we picked came out of the barrel at 14 years old and 121 proof. So they only had to add like a gallon of water to it to proof it down to 120. And for the longest time, I said, this is the best Knob Creek pick I think I've ever had, regardless of, you know, my inclusion in the situation. This dethroned it. This is definitely the best Knob Creek pick that I've ever had. And I don't know how you feel about it.
Well,
You're taking a lot of time with it.
I am, and you know why?
I'm enjoying this too because I get to see your process as you uncover.
Yeah. So
this.
what I find remarkable about this, and maybe but there's so much in the nose. I mean, not a bad thing, but like the nose and the taste are not. They're really.
I agree.
Not similar.
Yeah.
Like they're both phenomenal. Like I smelled this and I was like, good Lord, this is crazy. It almost has a certain like back to that dusty quality to it.
Yeah,
Like
it really does.
It has a bit of that like kind of butterscotchy like.
Yeah.
But then you taste it and and like it's a. And it's
it's totally different.
Totally not beanie. It's totally not. I mean, it's if you had poured this for me blind, a bean product, Knob Creek would have been at the very end of what I would have thought.
What would you put this in? Because this makes me think a little bit of Booker's. I think of more recent releases of Booker's, and this is in the same wheelhouse. Because, I mean, I just had the 2019-02, the Shiny Barrel batch, last night, and it was phenomenal and kind of on the same spectrum that this is. Too, in terms of some of the darker notes that are present on the palate.
Okay. I mean, this reminds me of something in that same age range, like a 14, 15-year-old Willet. Like that's what I would have thought this would have been.
Yeah. Coveted.
That's where I go. Because there's like this kind of, for me, like in my mind, it's kind of a grapey thing at the end of it. Like it's like grape. It's like red grape, like red.
Yeah.
I just think of the things
like in more of a
fruity. It's like a red fruity, dark red fruity, kind of plummy, red grapey.
Yeah, in kind of a like a wine-ish way, I would say.
I mean, the oak is there, but it's not like sweet oak notes. It's more of like woody oaky notes. Yeah. And there's a hell of a lot going on there.
Yeah, and I mean, when I first got this bottle, I thought,
how do we get more of those?
Yeah, really. Well, you can't right now.
Dear friends in Wisconsin.
I was thinking, you know,
did new members get a bottle automatically? Like if you add me, they automatically send me.
I think you might have you might have preference over other. I'm just kidding.
I doubt it.
But I thought, what was this at cast strength? This was like 136, I think, at cast strength. So that's a good deal of water to have been added to get to the 120 point.
I wonder if this at that proof point wasn't just dominated by the back end. You know what I mean? Like I wonder if you missed some of the.
Because we're talking about a lot of the finish on this one. But man, it's
solid.
It really is. Well, we're running a little bit short on time. And I don't mean to rush through too much of what we had originally planned to talk about, which was confiscated in Rye Batch 3, and a little bit of.
Did we talk about that?
9.
I can't remember anymore.
We talked about it a little bit, but I'll offer this up to you. What excites you about what you're doing with the Kentucky Owl brand right now? Confiscated Rye Batch 3, Bourbon Batch 9.
Well,
I know it's a broad question.
No, it's legitimate. Confiscated has become it's exciting to kind of create something that is a little bit kind of different, and I mean it's in the same house and under this, you know, and it's. But we can, it's just going to more markets it's kind of, because I run the risk of sounding, again, I don't mean to sound like I don't understand that but it's a little, I don't mean to say it's more affordable, but I think it's going to be more available.
I'd say it's more affordable based on the price
point.
Yeah,
but I mean, I run the risk of sounding like I'm acting like that. It's just like everybody's running around with that kind of money in their pocket. But, it's cool to say, to get the note from somebody that says, I've been looking for Kentucky Owl forever, and it's never been here.
Yeah.
And now my local got 3 bottles, and they saved me one.
Yeah.
And I was able to get my hands on it. And that's super cool to me. And then with Rye 3, I mean, I've said this before, like, I think Rye 3 is going to blow people's minds.
Having tried it and having loved both Rye batches 1 and 2, I think batch 3 is easily the best.
I think
out of what you've
Rye
got right
3
now.
is going to be pretty special. And then batch number 9 is
nebulous.
What's that?
Nebulous.
Yeah, I mean, batch number 9 is proving to be a real challenge.
Interesting.
And I don't know if it's because I'm just pickier or if it's because of all the stuff I've got going on. Like, it's harder to find the time to sit down and, get into it. I mean, it's like you get in, like, I get into that mode. Like, I get into that mindset. Like, it's just I don't know. It's kind of zone out.
Yeah.
And I love it. And it's one of my favorite things to do. But the more that I have going on, like, the harder it is to find like 3 hours to just get in there and really work or not work, but play. And, and so, I got about, my target is to to knock this out the next probably 3 to 4 weeks, and thankfully I'm done with travel that I
again don't put the cart before the horse.
Well, I think that's probably more important is knocking that out, but but I'm super excited about kind of, because this is I'm right now where it is right now is uncharted territory for me. I mean, it is.
It sounds like it's a little daunting for you.
No, I'm just playing with. I mean, it's kind of it's cool, but it's I just I got some stuff in there right now, and I'm kind of tweaking it, but I love where it's going, but it is going to be a very unique profile. It's based on some of the kind of crazy stuff that's
so excited for it.
Yeah, it could be really cool, or
you hope it's really cool.
Yeah, or you could shoot me a text a month from now and I'm like, I had to start all the way over, and like, I'm on a 3-day bender trying to pull this thing out.
Yeah, really, that's good to hear. Well, we normally close out the show by including a segment rather called Tips and Bits, where we recommend things.
It sounds weird.
It does sound weird, yeah. And I've had plenty of people say that sounds odd, and I say, I know. But we recommend things. It doesn't have to be bourbon related.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I thought this was like a plug for a strip club or something like that. Sorry.
What? Dang it. You threw me off with that one, Dixon. Do you have any recommendations this week?
Ooh.
TV shows, music, all
TV shows,
the entire spectrum.
Do you know what I watched? Have you seen, what's it called? Succession? Have you watched Succession on HBO? caught some of that on the airplane the other day.
Yeah?
Solid.
I've heard that Chernobyl's really good too.
Tried to watch that. Wi-Fi not good on the plane.
I thought maybe you just got really sad when you were watching it or something.
No. And let me give a shameless plug to my buddy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. So I have this great friend that I met when we were out in California. His name's Dan Dunn, and now he writes for the Robb Report. He used to write for Playboy, but a bunch of other stuff. He's
for the articles, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely for the articles. But I read his book. It's called American Wino.
Okay.
And he was dealing with all this crazy stuff in his life, so he basically packed his car up and he drove all over the U.S. and he drank wine wine being made in every state, and
that's pretty cool.
It was like this kind of therapeutic journey for him, and the way he writes is just insane. And he is a Hunter S. Thompson protege, so that kind of comes through in his writing and stuff like that.
Gosh.
But Dan Dunn, American Wino,
Dunn,
Dunn, and it is like it's like a belly laugher. Some of it, yeah. Check it out.
So I'm gonna also recommend something to read, but it's because I'm a big nerd and I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I love comic books.
Okay.
I love comic books. There is a Spider-Man series out right now that is unbelievable. It's called Life Story.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what your understanding of comics are or is. Or
I'm still that dude. No kidding. I read the newspaper every morning.
That's awesome.
I read the not comic, but I still
the funnies.
Read the comics.
Yeah. So comic books are famous for doing what they call the sliding time scale. So the timeline is usually a lot more flexible. Mm-hmm. So even though, Captain America was woken up in the 60s and, he still basically exists in the 2000s, they shift the story to where he was, found in the early 2000s, and now that it's 2019, he's still active and everything. It's all just kind of truncated.
Sure. Well,
more than anything.
Do that,
So this Spider-Man life story, though, it actually starts from when his first appearance was in 1962. And it follows what it would have been like if he had aged every decade along the way. So it starts in the 60s, and then 10 years later you pick up issue 2, it's the 70s. Issue 3 is the 80s, and it just goes on and on like that. And they're only 4 issues in, and it's maybe the best Spider-Man story I've ever read.
That's super cool.
It's really interesting to see him grow, not just as a superhero, but as a person too, and seeing the struggles that he goes through, going from a 19-year-old, right now he's, issue 4 came out. He's, in his 50s now.
Do they rate those things? Are they rated as far as
quality?
No. PG versus.
Yeah, they do. They do. This I think is considered 12 and up or 15 and up.
Okay.
I mean, there are.
My son is a spider. He loves Spider-Man.
This would be. How old is he?
Not 12.
It would be a little over his head, I think, just in terms of the concepts.
Okay.
But I can definitely point you towards some Spider-Man comics that he might like.
Step on that, but it's kind of that. That's kind of it's our thing. He gets into stuff, and so that's what we read at night. Whatever he's into.
It's cool.
But this is the same one that has that nose for whiskey already. So I guess we're both kind of dorks.
That's pretty awesome, though. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on this week, Dixon.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, I love having you on. We should probably do a quarterly episode or something with you now.
Sign me up.
Yeah, okay.
The whiskey's good.
I'm going to bring out all the stops for you to to try good stuff. Where can people find you on social media if they would like to do that?
I am, of course, Facebook. Instagram is @TheOldOwl. Twitter is @TheOldOwl.
Your Instagram has been freaking awesome since you've been in LA. It's been really funny.
I saw some cool stuff in LA. Yeah. It was super cool. We went to Paramount, and the guy was like, "Oh, here, jump over there and then take a picture. And I was like, what is that? He's like, that's the bench they filmed Forrest Gump on. I was like, okay, cool.
Fair enough. All right. If you want to follow me, I am at britter1492 on social media. If you'd like to follow up with the show, it is at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can leave us a 5-star rate and review on iTunes. That really does help other people find the show. We're always about finding new listeners, of course. Bourbonshop.threadless.com is where you can find all of our apparel and merch. We got a sale going up here very soon for just because. Because why not? Let's see what else. You can join the Facebook group. This is my bourbon group on Facebook. Just search for that. We would be happy to add you in there if you are a listener of the show. And then, of course, patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast is where you can become a patron of the show for as little as $1 a month. You get cool things like bonus episodes. You get some Patreon exclusive hangouts and live streams and stuff like that. And you get advance notice of what's going on in the world of the actual podcast. Thank you all so much for listening this week. Dixon, again, thank you for being here, my friend. Let's not go 3 months without seeing each other again. Does that sound okay to you?
Deal.
Great. All right. Well, I will see you next week. Thank you all again so much for listening. But until then, I'm Perry, and this is My Bourbon Podcast.